Hello once again, Niner Faithful. Well, after 4 months of football, can you believe that we are once again headed back to the Super Bowl? I can't believe that I get to do a review video of the 49ers winning an NFC Championship game. Before I get too far in, I want to give another shout out to my guys at the Goldcast. If you haven't checked them out, you need to. They were gracious enough to invite me onto the show this week as a special guest, but they've been doing a great job all year long. So if you're looking for a Bay Area sports-centric podcast to listen to on your morning or afternoon commute, I'll have some links below where you can find those guys and check out what they're pumping out, because it's really awesome. In this game, much like early in the year, the team was able to win with a mix of an incredible run game and suffocating defense. The plan was simple yet complex. Attack the edges in the run game until Green Bay could stop it. And they couldn't stop it. While it seems simple, just run the ball, Kyle Shanahan's running game is anything but simple. They utilized many different types of runs from similar formations and personnel packages that continually kept Green Bay guessing, and clever scheming neutralized the Packers' efforts to create a numbers advantage. I'm going to break the review of this game down into two parts. First, I'm going to talk about the run game, and then hopefully on Thursday I will release a video of the defensive performance. Then we'll start moving on to the Super Bowl preview and take a look at a few different things there. I wish I could have gotten to a preview video before the championship game, but unfortunately I was really sick last week and unable to complete the video in time. With all that, we're going to jump in and see just how it was that Kyle Shanahan and Raheem Mostert had one of the best running days in playoff history. The first play we'll look at is the first rushing touchdown of the game and set the tone for how the rest of the game would go. First, we're going to start out with Kendrick Bourne up top and motion him inside of a bunch formation. This will reveal man coverage. By being in a 4x1 set against man coverage, it's going to cause the Packers to be overloaded to one side. So this creates a 7-1 front. We have a perfectly timed call for this. The 7-1 can create problems for a stretch zone, like the 6-1 did against the Rams in the Super Bowl. But from the end zone, we're going to run a trap play. A trap play is different from a power play in that a power play will pull a guard and have him lead up through the hole. In a trap play, you pull a guard and have him block a lineman while another lineman leads up into the hole, in this case, Joe Staley. So here, we're not even going to look to block Preston Smith off the edge. At the snap, you'll see Joe lets his guy go inside and Person is able to pick him up and essentially gets a 2-for-1 on the block. You see the down blocks from Tomlinson and Garland, and we mix in a zone read look that holds the linebacker off the edge. I don't think it's because they worry about Jimmy as a runner, it's because we run a lot of bootleg passes off these same looks, so they have to honor that. So with Joe letting his guy go and him getting picked up, with only one off-ball defender, Joe is able to seal him off and then it's off to the races. And you see what Mostert's speed can do. We've seen time and again this year safeties and linebackers unprepared for how fast this guy is. The safety gets surprised by his speed and takes a bad angle, which Mostert just runs by everybody for a touchdown. So now we're just going to run this toss zone to the outside. You run the toss to get your QB coming out of the backside a little bit quicker, but it's essentially the same as an outside zone. The Packers are trying to stop the run, so they come out in a bare front, covering up the guards. But this is the beauty of the zone blocking scheme. The defense can change up its fronts, but the scheme has rules on how to handle these things. Normally, your guards will be responsible for scoop blocks and the center and tackles getting to the second level. But because of the front, you'll now have Person, Garland, and Staley responsible for scoop blocks, and Mike McGlinchey and Tomlinson for getting to the second level. Then, on the edge, Kittle and Juszczyk have rules. If the M-loss, or M-man on the line of scrimmage, stays outside uncontained, Kittle will pick him up and drive him to the sideline or seal him off depending on how the defender plays the block, and Juszczyk will get to the second level. If he releases inside, Kittle will let him go and Juszczyk will pick him up while Kittle will get to the second level. At the snap, you see za'darius Smith cuts inside, so Kittle lets him go and Juszczyk picks him up, and Kittle will get to the second level on the linebacker. You then get good scoop blocks from both Person and Garland, and McGlinchey is now able to get up on Martinez. You'll also see that the bootleg action from Jimmy G freezes the safety. They've now opened up a nice running lane for Mostert. So the next play, we're again going to see how Kyle Shanahan uses all the motions and misdirections to get favorable numbers matchups in the run game. So we're in 22 personnel with 2 backs and 2 tight ends, but we'll split both Juszczyk and Kittle to the top. This helps sell the fake. We then motion Samuel into the backfield, and right before the snap send him out to the top. From there, we're going to run a sweep to the outside against a run defending box and still get the right numbers. Because you have Kittle and Juszczyk to the top, when Samuel motions out, the defense has to respect the wide receiver screen with our 2 best non-lineman blockers out there. This draws 3 defenders out and holds the safety to the top. From there, we mix in the zone read look on the handoff, which holds the end man. From these 2 things, they've been able to occupy 5 defenders with 4 offensive players. That means they'll have the ability to get a hat on a hat to the play side, which the line is able to do, and Mostert nearly breaks one for a touchdown. Not getting a touchdown on that play really doesn't matter because just a couple plays later we end up scoring a touchdown. So the first touchdown we scored running a trap play off the edge. This time we're going to use the trap as a fake and run around the edge. We do this a lot where we'll bring a receiver in motion to widen the M-loss, pull a guard, and kick him out and run up inside. But here we're going to give that look, but instead of coming up inside, Mostert will follow Samuel around the edge. You do this because as you trap this end man, he begins to play more aggressively to collapse the edge, so then you use his aggressiveness against him. No matter what the defense is choosing to do, they're going to be wrong. Another thing to note is they've got number 31 in man coverage on Kittle, so Kittle is going to help block down on the line and he'll get a 2-for-1. Green Bay is again in this 6-1 front, a la the Patriots versus the Rams. So you'll see the trap play look, the M-loss drives hard down on the coming block from Person, and in doing so completely gives up contain. Martinez is trying to play this run as a trap play and fill the D-gap, but that's not where the run is going. You now have Mostert on Martinez in a foot race with Debo out in front as a lead blocker. Mostert versus any linebacker in a foot race is a win, and Debo gives a physical block that springs Mostert for his second touchdown. So it's worth noting that the play before this we ran an RPO to Samuel and Green Bay got flagged for PI. Because we just threatened the pass once, Green Bay is going to end up running a form of cover 2 here and will catch their safety in a late drop. We're going to run the outside zone again, but this time off a toss. Remember the rules I talked about for Kittle and Juszczyk? This time, Smith cuts outside and contain, and so Kittle picks him up and will look to drive him to the sideline. Meanwhile, Juszczyk will now be the one who gets to the second level. Person and McGlinchey do a great job on their scoop blocks and getting up to Martinez, and you see Juszczyk picks up the defensive back. Because the safety's dropped wide and deep, you're now seeing how dangerous Mostert is in an open field, as neither guy is fully prepared for his speed again, and he makes both guys miss and nearly takes one to the house. So now on the very next play, we're going to come out and run the same thing again. Same play, same everything, but again, you're going to see the flexibility of the zone blocking scheme. Green Bay this time comes out in cover 4. I note that because if we watch from the All-22, you'll see how these 3 safeties have to respect all these throwback and slide passes we do off this outside zone. It's what allows us to get a hat on a hat play side. With the play side blocks picking up their defenders, Juszczyk now is going to pick up Martinez. Because these 3 guys have now executed their blocks well, and the other safety held by the possibility of the pass, number 26 is now stuck in a hard place. He either has to fill the hole or take outside contain. He chooses outside contain, and so Mostert cuts it back inside for 7 yards. So now, in more variations of what we do, we're going to come with a counter trap. We've gotten the line moving down one way, so these interior D linemen are now taking off with their offensive counterparts. So what's going to happen is all these guys will block down, Kittle will leave the M-loss and get to the second level, while we pull Tomlinson to kick out the M-loss. I like how Kittle first looks to attack him and then just moves off. This freezes Preston Smith and sets him up for Tomlinson's block. You'll also see how number 94 was trying to play the zone run very aggressively, so when McGlinchey moves down the line, he goes with him and it opens up a huge lane. From there, Kittle is now up on Martinez. Emmanuel Sanders has cut off his man and picked him up, and Kendrick Bourne is going to get up on number 26. Everyone is getting in on the run game, so when Mostert comes through, he's got a beautiful lane to run through. So then we're going to see another rushing touchdown from Raheem Mostert. So we've run the outside zone, traps, sweeps, counter traps. Now we're going to run inside zone. We check to this play after we motion Sanders across and reveal man coverage. We do this because we know we'll get a numbers advantage. With Kittle and Bourne in close and the defense in man coverage, you know you can get a 2-for-1 with Kittle. Kittle can block the linebacker and still occupy his defender in man coverage because he's going to have to respect all those throwbacks and screens we run to Kittle. But you're going to get a double team on the 1 technique, and then Tomlinson and Staley will work together to scoop block the 3 technique and then up to Martinez. You see Person and Garland get Clark on the move, and Staley and Tomlinson work in perfect unison to execute those blocks, while Bourne and Kittle take their guys. Notice how number 26 is frozen on Kittle. That's his man in coverage, and so he has to respect it and takes himself out of the play. This leaves an easy read for Mostert. He sees the line, wall everything down, and cuts up inside. This is when 26 really regrets what he's done. And for the 3rd time, Mostert's speed surprises and the safety takes a bad angle, and he's seeing the end zone for the 3rd time in the game. So now we're going to get back to more misdirection stuff. We come out in 22 personnel and condense the set. This is going to condense the defense and set us up to outflank them. They have a 6-3 front, so 9 guys in the box. We like to run this counter run off the outside zone, and so that's what we're going to make this look like. Like I said before, we like to motion a wide receiver across to widen the M-loss and set up a kickout block by Juszczyk on this counter. This time, however, Juszczyk is going to fake like he's going to block the M-loss and then just run around him and lead around on a wide receiver reverse. This is why a defense can't just determine we'll take away the running back. You'll see how the running back action draws both linebackers up, and the one is frozen in place because he has no idea where the play is actually going. Notice also that Kittle doesn't even have to block anyone. He just runs a route like he would on those play action passes and his defender covers him. This is what Kyle Shanahan is looking at to see if they should run some play action passes. Once these guys sell out to the run and stop covering their guys, he passes it. From the end zone, you'll see how Za'Darius Smith was getting ready to take on the kickout block from Juszczyk, but then he's faked out and left to watch Deebo Samuel run around the edge. Now we've got him running with Juice as a lead blocker and they pick up 11 yards. So then we're going to run another wide receiver reverse off the same look as another play we've run, the trap play. We first motion Kittle inside and in an offset I formation. We're going to make this look like a trap play that I've shown before, but now we've got yet another variation off it. This time, instead of it being a trap or faking the trap and leading up around it, we're going to fake the trap but peel Juszczyk off his block and lead around on a wide receiver reverse. There's 2 keys here. Kittle will get up onto the second level to a linebacker, and to do that effectively, Sanders will have to execute a crack block on Preston Smith. At the snap, you'll see how this looks just like the trap play. So both linebackers fill as if it's a trap and Preston Smith looks to come down on Mostert. But Juszczyk peels off his block and you see Kittle just has to sit on Martinez while Sanders has cracked down on Preston Smith. Now you got a convoy leading the way, creating a wall of offensive production moving down the field that springs Deebo for over 30 yards. This is what I mean when I say Shanahan forces the defense to cover every blade of grass. From the same look, same personnel, and same play action, we've attacked wide outside on both sides for big chunk gains and 2 touchdowns. With the same play look because it puts so much stress on the defense when you have this much space you have to defend against this much speed. So for the last play we'll show, it's again just our outside zone, but everything else we've done sets this up. So we're going to run a weak side outside zone. You'll get scoop blocks from Mike McGlinchey, Person, and Tomlinson. Staley will kick out or seal off. Garland will look to get to the second level, and Juszczyk will lead. So off the snap, because we've run so many of these counters, Kenny Clark doesn't aggressively attack down the line, and it creates a big car pileup and seals off the backside. Garland gets up on the linebacker, and so now you have a hat on a hat at the point of attack. Martinez then has to fill the cutback lane. Here's where the defense almost played this right. 25 looks to scrape over the top to cut off the edge, but he sees Juszczyk leading up in the hole and the linebacker playing contained, so he looks to fill the hole. The linebacker sees the same thing and also looks to come inside and fill the hole. So Mostert shows nice patience and then bounces it outside. If we cut back to the all-22, look how Sanders and Debo spring this run. They both look to go make a block. Sanders ends up affecting 2 defenders, and Debo as a lead blocker. I point out Sanders because the safety, number 38, is about 3 steps too slow to get to Mostert, because he has to run around Sanders and the guy he's looking to block. Sometimes you don't have to make a spectacular play, you just have to get in the way. And Mostert gets his 4th touchdown of the game. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Lots to look at in the run game, and you can see how difficult this run game is for defenses to prepare for. It's not as simple as shut down Mostert and make Jimmy G throw it. There's so many moving parts and counters off counters, and then the bread and butter that all looks the same and all comes from the same looks. And then we have 10 different passes that come off these same looks. There's little doubt that Kyle Shanahan has been painting his Sistine Chapel these past 2 games in the playoffs, and I can't wait to see what he unveils in the Super Bowl against the number 25 ranked rush defense in the league. And when they really sell out to stop the run, we have misdirections and play action passes to keep them guessing all game long. Well, thanks for tuning in, hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. Can't wait to jump into the defense and then on to a preview of Super Bowl weekend. Man, can't believe we get to say that. Feels great, baby.